Today I'm keeping on reading Sophie Scott Goes South. I think last time we finished at the page where Georgie was going out to study the penguins at Oster Rookery, and we saw the beautiful aurora over the red shed. I love that picture. The next page in the book doesn't have any words at all. It's just heaps and heaps of penguins. When I did this project, so many children sent me penguins, so I thought it would be lovely to have a big double page of all the penguins that Georgie was going to study. So here's the next page. It says, Day 19. Goodbye, Mawson. This morning the helicopters flew out to the ship. We're taking them home with us. I watched the engineers unscrew the rotor blades and stow them in a big box. Then they pushed the choppers into the hangar and tied them down. After lunch, I heard the ship's hooter and raced up on deck to wave to Georgie. Everybody staying at Mawson came down to Horseshoe Harbour to farewell us. They let off pink flares that drifted down through the snowy sky. There you see them, and they've written on their tummies. It says, bye-bye. The sea was freezing into little pancakes of ice, and Dad was anxious to get going. If we weren't quick, we'd be stuck at Mawson for the winter. Now you can see Sophie holding up a sign that says, bye-bye, Georgie. We crashed through the ice all afternoon. Some bits were so big that the ship tilted as she slid over them. All the people who have been at Mawson are excited to be going home. The visiting scientists have done their work, and I think Dad and the crew are happy that we didn't get stuck. After dinner, we had a King Neptune ceremony to celebrate crossing the Antarctic Circle. We should have had it on the way down, but the weather was too rough. Adam was dressed up as King Neptune, and Dad was a mermaid. We had to kiss a dead fish. Yuck. And here's some of the beautiful colours. When I told people I was going to Antarctica, they said, what are you going to paint? It'll all be white. But they were wrong. The colours were incredible, often early in the morning and late at night. Here's the next page. Day 22. The ice has been so thick it's taking us 3 days to get this far. This morning at sunrise we saw some killer whales beside the ship. Their shiny black bodies stood out against the golden sea. Here you can see the beautiful. A little boy from Japan sent me that lovely drawing of the killer whale, and I put the background onto it. Their shiny black bodies stood out against the golden sea. Some were putting their heads right out of the water as we went past. This is called spy hopping. After lunch, Sarah showed me some photos from her polar trips and told me about some of the famous Antarctic explorers. So here's a stamp, and it says, this is Sir Ernest Shackleton. He was from Ireland. In 1909, he nearly made it to the South Pole, but had to turn back when he ran out of food. Afterwards, he said to his wife, a live donkey is better than a dead lion, isn't it? Shackleton is famous for getting all his men home safely after his ship, the Endurance, was crushed by ice in 1914. And over here we say, this is Roald Amundsen from Norway, who was the first to the South Pole in 1911. And here, Sir Robert Scott, same name as me, was also called Scott of the Antarctic. He was English. He tried to be first to the South Pole, but Amundsen beat him by a month. He and his men starved to death on the way back. And this is Sir Douglas Mawson from Australia, who explored Antarctica. In 1912, he made it through terrible blizzards after both his companions died. This time of Antarctic history is called the Heroic Age because the explorers were so brave. And here are some of Sarah's photos. Scott's hut at Cape Evans, Amundsen's hut, which was built on the ice so it doesn't exist anymore. Mawson's hut at Commonwealth Bay. There's Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, being crushed, and that's the stove that kept Shackleton's hut warm. And there's the beautiful whale picture. Day 25. We've been out of the ice for 2 days now. This morning the ship stopped to pick up an underwater microphone called an acoustic recording package. The scientists on the ship left it here a year ago to record the ocean noises. Today the technicians floated it to the surface. Whale experts back home will listen and find out what the whales have been saying. And Sophie thinks they're saying, protect our babies, and the baby's saying, we're only little. After lunch it was sunny, even though it was still -4 degrees. Sarah and I took photos of the cooks pretending to sunbake in front of an iceberg. That was our last iceberg. I felt sad that we wouldn't see any more. When we were in the ice, it seemed they would last forever. It was Dad's birthday today, and I got to carry out the cake on a big silver tray. Tonight the sun set over confused seas. I love that name. It sounds as though the sea can't figure something out, but it really means there are waves coming from all directions. Only 4 days to go until we get home. I'm going to miss my little bunk that rocks me to sleep every night. And here's a beautiful picture of the ship sailing home under the stars through the confused seas. Day 30. When I woke up this morning, the ship wasn't moving, and when I looked out my porthole, there was Hobart. We were tied up to the dock. After breakfast, we all swapped email addresses and said goodbye. Sarah gave me a beautiful painting of whales and icebergs to take home to Mum. Then everybody walked down the gangway with their bags. The ship felt still and quiet when they were gone. I packed up my things, peeled my pictures off the wall, then lay on my bunk and waited for Dad. Soon he came. Come on, Sophie of the Antarctic, he said. Let's go home. And so we did. And can you see she's carrying a little esky there with Alfie's ice in it. And they're walking away from the big red ship. And that's the end of Sophie Scott Goes South. On the back end papers, there's a different sort of map. It's called a polar stereographic projection, where you can see what Antarctica looks like from that angle, with lots of information as well. And here's the back of the book. So thank you for listening to Sophie Scott Goes South. It took 3 goes to get it all read. I hope some of you can go to Antarctica one day too. It's a very exciting place. Bye-bye, and thanks for listening.